wanna know what's going on in DC, entertainment, politics, charity, all the events.
All right, Andrew, it's on you.
We'll let you know.
Don't be nervous.
It's simple. 9 o'clock Tuesday. It's the Chandler and Rhea Show.
Yours is hot coming off.
No, he's not.
Right?
What's up? What's good for the weekend?
I'll stay very quiet.
I'm feeling like I wanna give. What's new?
Lights not gonna be on. Gotta do some damn tape.
What's up? What you watching to live?
All the nights to forget it. It works tonight, you know?
It's the Chandler and Rhea Show. It's the Chandler.
Welcome back, world. You're listening to the Chandler and Rhea Show on b2gx.com. This is Rhea.
And I'm Chandler.
So, Chandler.
We were just listening to Keith Center of Dreamscapes Project.
That was hot. Keith was here in the studio with us. Thank you.
And it's his Dreamscape Project. So now we're going to go into current events.
Well, I just want to clarify something to everyone who's listening to that song. It's called Romeo and Juliet. And we've had quite an interesting discussion here in the studio for a while about what the hell he's exactly saying. Because it does sound like these are borderline graphic lyrics.
Everybody thinks that they're borderline pornographic lyrics.
Yeah.
Except for me.
He's not saying Romeo, is it Romeo and Juliet who's handle deep? It's not anal deep, it's handle deep.
Okay.
And Romeo is swallowing. There we go. Okay, just want to clarify that for everyone. Everyone is confused about that.
Well, when he comes on as a guest, we'll have him explain why
Excellent.
those are the lyrics, because it just has to do with the Romeo and Juliet play.
It's very provocative.
So on with current events. What do we have up first?
Okay, here's what's going on. For those of you folks who are following the Tea Party or who are just really concerned in general about what's going on in our nation's capital, and even if you're an astute and vowed to-your-grave Democrat, there may be hopefully some questions that you're going, something just doesn't quite feel right about what's going on.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about what I think is a really beautiful event happening in a little tiny town in Bell, California, which is about 10 miles southwest of the city of Los Angeles. It's in Los Angeles County. And they're having a firestorm over there, which I just think is fantastic. It's a small town of maybe 40 to 50,000 residents. And somehow it has come out, a little thing called transparency maybe.
Okay.
Transparency. That the president of the city council, town council, it was discovered, has given himself a salary of $700,000 a year. The chief of police makes $475,000 a year. Each of them have voted in pensions to their grave once they retire of something like in excess of an additional $400,000 to $500,000 a year. Chandler, guess what the average resident annual salary is of someone living in that town?
The rest of the town council would have had to have voted on it. Like,
and they make over $100,000 for a part-time job.
That's a part-time job. Our council members here, well, over in Alexandria, make about $22,000 for their part-time job.
Right, exactly. And I guess how many in this tiny town of 40,000 people?
Did they oust the motherfucker?
That's what's going on. And so for everyone to understand, with the residents, the average annual salary in this town is $25,000 a year. And so here they are discovering that the people they've put into office to look out for their best interests, $700,000 a year, $475,000 a year. It is just phenomenally outrageous, disproportionate salaries.
You're going to have to forgive me on this one, but I don't think it matters one way or another what everybody else in the town makes. Even if everybody else in the town made $700,000 a year, your police chief, your fire chief, and your town councilman should not. I know. Let's go pick that up before it dies.
I think it's already off.
I know.
Here you go, Eugene.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. I think it's preposterous, that they make that much.
Well, what's also really cool about it is you have the town residents. What's interesting is the mayor's Hispanic. Some of the other town council members are Hispanic, and so what you've got is when the camera pans across the courtrooms, it is a multitude of Asian, Hispanic, white, which is beautiful. I mean, you have people from all over. This appeals to common sense to everybody. When everyone in this economy is barely making it, barely surviving. You've got a tiny little township. Revenues are down everywhere in their sliding scale. The state of California and
bankrupt.
counties, yeah, they're issuing out IOUs. And then, a little thing called transparency.
Well, the little thing called transparency also uncovered up in Ann Arbor that they fired a whole bunch of firemen because they couldn't afford to keep on all their firemen. But then they turned around in one fell swoop, bought a $750,000 piece of artwork to display in the town square. Having lived in Ann Arbor before, the square needs something, but probably dark sunglasses because you're in the state of Michigan.
Oh my God.
But yes, so they fired firemen and bought this extremely, I think, phenomenally expensive piece of artwork.
The town did?
Yes, and it
Jeez.
wasn't even a U.S. citizen. Having it flown in from Germany.
Oh, you're kidding?
No.
So it's not even supporting a job for an American
No.
artist?
No.
Wow. Wow, wow. Well, you know, Chandler, because you and I are huge fans of the state of Arizona and the legislative leadership they're pioneering out there, I just wanted to say today I'd like to dedicate this show, if I may,
Yes.
with on the fly, without your permission in advance. I want to dedicate the show to the township of Bell, California. Thank you so much for the good work of the township of Bell, California.
Well, actually, I think it was pretty fucking crappy work if they allowed this to go on. I mean,
They had no idea.
I know, but how long has it been going on? Well, what were the other council members doing?
Okay, so here's what the council members have. The chief of police and the town council president have since resigned as of like
But
yesterday.
did they catch it when they were voting on it, or did they vote on it and now somebody got caught 2 years later?
I don't know. But I
That
can
makes
tell
all
you,
the difference to me in the world.
I'll tell you what, the town council though, as in the past 24 to 48 hours, has also decided they voted on and successfully passed unanimously that they are going to reduce their salaries by 90% so that it will mimic sort of like the $22,000 a year for the part-time job.
Being in jail.
And that is exactly what's now happening. So the California state attorney is getting involved, the FBI is getting involved,
Right.
actually. First, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you the reasons why, but this is what's going on in the news, what they're reporting. And what's interesting is the citizens are shouting in both English and in Spanish, you know, you get out of here, you should all quit, you should all resign. Let's start with a fresh new slate of candidates. And
Well, you need a
this
fresh
is-
new set of candidates in Ann Arbor and in Bell, California.
yeah, so
This-
here's what I think is great. Here's a manifestation of what's happening in a local tiny township. And this is exactly what we need to have happen coming in November. The exact same thing. This is the kind of transparency that the president promised he would provide to all of us. I would love to see it. I'm a big fan of it. You know, I'm not a big fan of the president, but I, of course, respect him. And I said, okay, since there were so many of my friends and Democrat colleagues that hated, you know, the Bush administration because of the lack of transparency and the secrecy and all the things going on behind the, you know, and people couldn't understand why we were doing certain things overseas. And I'm like, okay, fine. All right, you got your man in. Let's see the transparency. That sounds good to me. I'm down for that. And then there is no transparency. So I'm just sort of sitting there just looking at my friends
I
like,
have no idea where you just went. Okay.
you have no idea, the transparency for,
Right.
okay.
But I need to know, for
What?
Bell, California,
Yes.
how long they've been getting these salaries. Because if they've been getting these salaries for like 10 years, I actually think that the citizens that live in that township should also be pistol whipped. Because this has been going on for how long? I just need to know how long it's been going on
I didn't
for.
pay attention to that. For me, it was
Okay.
not an important question. So I
Okay.
didn't probe for that.
Because if it's transparent, it happened, it got caught right when they voted on it, like in Ann Arbor. Got caught when they voted on it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
okay.
this has been going on in Bell, California for 15 years or so. You're going to have a hard time making me feel sorry for those residents because they didn't hold their council.
Oh, I don't feel
people
sorry for
accountable.
them. I'm cheering them on.
No, I would pistol whip them because I need to know how long they've been allowing their council members and that they didn't hold anyone accountable. Hey, if you don't pay your taxes, you're still held accountable no matter why.
Right.
So, you know, for them, wouldn't you need to know where your money is going? Hey, it should be all public. It's in the books. Your budget, anyone can go to it. And nobody cared enough to find out.
Because the culture of the day, Chandler, people this is what I'm saying. This is what is so beautiful. We've hit a tipping point in our country now. People are now finally owning up and taking accountability for what their representatives are doing. And they're standing up, and they're beginning to ask questions, they're going to town meetings, they're looking at the ledgers and the records of where our money is going. And I think it was probably as simple as that is my understanding.
Okay.
You know how people like generally just sort of assign away, you know, which is how our public is supposed to work. You put people in office to represent you because you and I and everyone else out there, we do other things full-time for a living. We can't possibly be accountable for reviewing all the details of what it takes to run and manage our government. And so these people have left their trust in these elected officials to